as we get started here, it is important to understand that some of the concepts that I cover here apply to both Office 365 and Office 2013. So to get started, what we have to do here, we click on the Start menu and then locate Office 2013. So in this case, we'll click on Word 2013. And then what's new compared to other versions of Office 2010 or 2007 and so on is that when you first open Word 2013, you are presented with the templates. And actually this is a great improvement, because for somebody who is starting from scratch, you could just simply pick any of those templates and instead of having to relocate them and find them where they are stored. So you could start right away with an existing template. If you needed to use any of these templates, of course, you can just click on any of those and click on Create. It will download it, and all you have to do is just click on the text, whatever you want to change in it. But that's not the purpose of this tutorial. So the purpose is actually to get used to some of the concepts and access and learn about them. So let's go back here to Word, and we're going to start here a document from scratch. So as you open Word, notice the interface looks a little bit different. It looks more whitish, and this is more the modern design. And the other thing is, just like in Office 2010, the File menu is back, because in 2007 or in Office 2007 the File menu was gone, and it created a lot of confusions. By the way, if you are used to using Office 2007 or Office 2010, the basic concepts apply here as well in Office 2013. So what you have is that you have on the left hand side here, you have the File menu. In the File menu, then you have these different sub options here on the left hand side. On the first thing that you see here is the info option. This gives you information about the document, how long it was edited, who created it, and a whole bunch of properties and different aspects of a document. Then you can create a new document, open an existing one, save it, print it, share it, and so on. Now, under sharing, by the way, notice there are different options here, and we'll cover those some other time, but just so that you know where these options are. Under export as well, this is another great option that I hope to cover in a later session here. In order to create a PDF document, you would come here under export and then choose PDF or XPS document and just save it. That's how you create a PDF document very easily. But the other thing here is that under account, this is where you can change the theme for Office or Word in this case, and this is where you can sign in with your Office 365 subscription. And then if you go under options, this is where you can change all kinds of other options related to the usage of Word 2013 in your computer. So again, you just click on File, and this is where there are some of the general aspects of Word. Now, right above File here, and by the way, you notice these tabs here. You have the Home tab, the Insert tab, the Design, and notice as soon as you open any of those, you have a new set of tools. This is the ribbon with a set of tools for each tab. The contextual tools, actually, it's something else that shows up later when you're manipulating a document, and then a certain set of tools shows up depending on what you're doing. So the important thing here is you have the file, or you have this whole thing here in the top. It's referred to as the ribbon, the Office ribbon. The Office ribbon has different tabs with different sets and subsets of tools. On each set or subset of tools, notice there are different sections here. So for example, there's the font section, the paragraph section, the style section, editing, and so on. And notice if you want to show the menus like in the older versions of Office, for manipulating, let's say, the font or something like that, anything related to a specific group, notice that there's a little arrow in here, and you can click on that expanding arrow, and then it will show you different settings or a whole dialog box like in the previous versions of Word. So Like I mentioned, we have the different tabs. Right above the tabs here on the ribbon, you have this quick launch toolbar. The quick launch toolbar is basically just a set of tools that you can pick and choose and store them or park them in there for easier access for you. So if you, for example, are constantly inserting pictures in your document, and instead of having to go to the Insert tab and you click on Pictures, you just simply right-click, choose Add to Quick Access Toolbar, and now it is up here. So now if I'm typing my document here and so on, and I want to insert a picture, I can simply click on this icon. So the Quick Access Toolbar is just a set of tools that you park for you to reuse or easy access it. Then on the bottom right here, notice you can zoom, make the document larger or smaller. And then we have the various layout options. So you have the web layout, you have the print layout, and then you have the reading mode as well. Reading mode has been enhanced more in this version of Word, but it's designed so that you can read a document much easier than before, or much easier than a traditional document. Then on the bottom left here, you have the number of words in this document, and you can click on it and it'll tell you what the words, how many pages, how many characters, and all kinds of statistics about your document. And then under page 1 out of 1 here, you can choose to display the navigation such as headings, results, and so on. So before I finish this short session here on getting around in Microsoft Word and understanding the interface here, the idea is that the common stuff that you do in a document, all the specific features, the common features in a document, or tasks that you perform, are usually under the Home tab. So you start with Home. You start creating your document, typing along. Then, once you have your document, you start typing with it, and you can tinker with the fonts, you can tinker with the paragraph, the indentations, and all that type of thing. Then you can modify the styles and so on. You can do some plain text replacements. Once you have done all of these basic stuff, such as copying and pasting as well, then you want to enhance the document, and then you can insert other stuff in this document. So you are enhancing, you're taking it a step further. In this case, you utilize the tools that are located under the Insert tab. In this case, you could insert a cover page, blank pages. You could insert tables, pictures from online, different shapes, SmartArt, using SmartArt and so on, different other apps, and connect it to stuff from Wikipedia or other online apps, or online video. And by the way, this is a new feature in Word 2013, the hyperlinks and so on. So basically all of these options you're enhancing. Then you move on to the design, the changing of the layout of this document by applying different color themes, by applying different effects and that type of thing. Then you move into the page layout. So you're kind of now formatting. This could be a brochure, but you want to format it a different way. You want to change the margins, you want to change the indentations and all that type of thing. You can go also into references. Let's say it's a research document or a quote or proposal that you're sending, and you want to create a table of contents and so on. So you go to the various tabs. Then you can do a mail merge, and you can review it, finalize. You're coming to the conclusion of your project by reviewing, checking it for grammar, spelling, and so on. And then finally you're viewing it like in reading mode, in comparing it and that type of thing in different split windows and so on. So the idea is that you start with the basic stuff on the Home tab. As you go make progress in your document and you're enhancing it, that's when you go through the different other tabs and you apply the different features from there. Now, one thing that I'd like you to keep in mind is that the best way, instead of reading a big textbook or reading and viewing videos online for hours and hours, the best way to learn about a program or an application is by simply clicking on the different tools that are available. Tinker around with it and see what it can do. If you're not sure, just press cancel. It's not going to break, it's not going to mess up your computer. And that's the best thing that you can do to learn a program. It's very similar to like going in your garage and looking through all the tools that you have. And then if you know what tools you have and where they are, whenever you have to do a project, whenever down the road, you don't have to run to the store to buy it, but you have it right there. So you know what you have, you know where it is, and then you can figure it out how to do it from there. So this is briefly the interface on using Word. We have not started on any functionality at this point, but just to get you acquainted with the interface and what's where. One of the great new features of Office 2013, and particularly here in Word 2013, is the use of templates from the very start of the application. So you double click on the application to open it up, and then the first thing that you're presented here is that you can create a new document, or you can choose to utilize a template from the system already here. So the templates, basically, it's just a matter of clicking on them and then tinkering with them. You can also search for those templates online that I'll cover in just a second here. So to pick a template, all you have to do is you click on it, click on Create, and then simply fill in the text. And basically add your own text and modify this however you want. You can change a couple of the colors, you can change pictures and things of that nature. Now, if you are already in the document and you want to utilize a different template, or you want to get back to the templates, all you have to do is you click on File, then you click on New, and then you're presented again with the templates as you had them from before. You can also search online, for example, let's say for Word Poster. And you can pick any of those from online here. Click on it. It'll download it. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. And in this case, simply change the wording. So that's basically the use of templates. It's very easy, very simple, and I would strongly suggest that before you start tinkering and reinventing the wheel from scratch with a document, utilize one of the templates and modify them from there, using also features that I'll show you in the other sessions for Word 2013. The content that I'll cover in this session, it's going to actually be a little bit too basic probably for some of you and most of you, but I think it is important to cover it because somebody who is starting with using Word 2013 might not understand that this capability is already there. So I'm going to go over just a couple basic features here under the Home tab. So let's say we have some basic text. So basically, to type text, you just keep on typing, and then as you type more text, the lines will go to the next line and so on. So it'll just automatically return to the next line. So again, this stuff might seem pretty simple, but we're going to tinker with this anyway, so let's get started. So we are working, let's say this is our document, and we are working on the Home tab. All of these features that I'm going to talk about here are on the Home tab. So let's say we want to do just a title. So at this point, we just type a new title, and one of the things that you can do here, of course, you can adjust the font, make it larger, however large you want, and change the font as well to something different. But one of the things to keep in mind is that you can utilize this large capital A here with the upper arrow and the lower arrow. This increases and decreases the font. The other thing is that you can change the case for the whole section here. You can make it uppercase or lowercase and so on. You can remove all the formatting if you'd like as well. And of course, bold, italics, and underline and all that type of stuff, it's here, and you don't need me to show you that. The other thing is that you can change here, and this feature, notice it's available for all of the other sections here as well on the ribbon, is that you can click on this little arrow here, and it will bring up a dialog box where you can customize multiple features at the same time. Notice there's an advanced tab here as well. By the way, from these windows, you can also change it so that you can set the default. So every time, let's say you want to use a different font for your documents, you can choose to set it as a default, and then that will be always the default. However, be careful that because that will apply to any new documents that you create. Now, this title that we have selected here, we could also apply a style to it, and we'll get into styles sometime later, but just for the sake of tinkering with it at this point. Then here for these items that I listed here, it'll probably be nicer to have them in a bulleted list format. So you can choose the bullet lists like this, or you can choose a drop down here and pick some kind of fancier listing. Next to it, you also have a numbering listing. So instead of using regular bullet lists here, you can use different types of numbering for an outline format. Of course, note as well here whether you want this centered, whether you want it, so let's say the title, if you want it centered or indented to the right or indented to the left or all across here. Across would be in the case of a paragraph where you want it completely square from both sides here. Then next to it, you also have the line spacing. So let's say if I wanted a section of this document double spaced, all you have to do is you click on the line spacing here and change it. In the case of college papers, you need to make it 2 spaces and so on, but this is where you change it. You can also choose different options to adjust it to however you want. Notice you also have additional such as shading and different lines here, borders and so on. So the idea is that, and I'm not going to go through every one of those features here, the idea is that you basically just tinker with it, select something and look as to what's available. Notice that if you hold the mouse on it, and this is the concept here, for learning Word, you hold the mouse on a particular item and it'll tell you, it'll give you an explanation as to what it does and what that icon or that functionality is. The other thing, as we mentioned in a previous section, if you're constantly utilizing a specific feature, then you can even add that feature or that command to the quick launch toolbar, which is basically this set of icons here on the top, which includes commonly used tools. Let's say we are using the double spacing all the time. You can simply right click, choose add to quick access toolbar, and now it will be up here for easier access. Another thing to consider is that whenever you select something like double clicking here or any of the wording and so on, by the way, you can simply double click and it will select the whole word. Notice there's a little toolbar. This is basically for you to format whatever you selected very easily without having to reach with your mouse to the ribbon for formatting. So you double click, make that bold, double click on that, make it underlined and so on. So that's another quick tip there on how to utilize this quick access toolbar. This is actually quick access formatting tools in this case. So the styles, we'll cover them in more in depth later, but basically the styles, you can format a certain section of the document with a particularly predefined style. Then finding and replacing. Let's say we want to find all 2013 here, and let's say we had 2013 somewhere else here. And now if we want to search and replace this, you can simply select replace. So we want to find 2013 and replace this with Office 365. Because probably that's what Microsoft is going to do anyway. Take whatever ongoing version of it and name it Office 365 and just simply keep on upgrading and updating it. Click on Find Next. Oh, we need to find 2013 here. It found one, and here's another one. And you can technically click here on replace all, and it's going to replace them all. So Word 365, Styles 365, and so on. By the way, here under search and replace, you can do more fancier stuff, such as matching the case, using wildcards, and using a lot of other functions, even formatting, like paragraph, if it is a certain way, reformatted another way, and so on. So the idea here, and I cannot cover them all in this video, but it is that you explore it and see what else you can do with that feature. At this point, the key here is to expose you as to what's there. As far as under the formatting feature here, there's a feature called, besides copying and pasting, that you can try for yourself, but there is also a feature called Format Painter. Format Painter, what that means is that it formats something a certain way. The Format Painter will copy the formatting, and then you can apply it to something else. So let's say I want the formatting exactly like this for another area. I can simply go here under Format Painter and then come down here, select it, and then let the mouse go. So release the mouse, and it applied the same formatting. So again, these are probably some of the basic features here, but they come in very handy if you get to utilize and save time. Again, the goal here is to just save time. Two more things before we finalize this session is you can either, to select a specific word that we said earlier, you can double click on it, or you can double click, actually you can triple click, and it will select the whole paragraph. So double click for selecting a specific word, triple click for a whole paragraph. Or you can double click outside of the paragraph to select the whole paragraph. So if you're outside here on the left, single click selects a whole line, double click a whole paragraph. If you're within the paragraph, triple click whole paragraph. So tinker with it, try it, and it should be fun to experiment with. In this session, I'm going to go over the use of styles in a document in Word 365 or Word 2013. As this headline says on this blog, be stylish, use Word styles. Styles are a very effective tool in both saving you time in the design and the formatting of a document, as well as in providing you consistency throughout the document. So they save time and they provide consistency throughout the document. So how do they work? Well, here we have a document, a long document here, and we're going to format this using styles. For the sake of saving time, I'm not going to have to retype all this thing, but we're going to simply reuse this. So what you do is the styles, you can use any of those over here. Notice you have title, heading 1, heading 2, and so on. Or you can create your own. So initially we are going to apply existing styles, and then we are going to create our own as well and apply our own styles. So let's do the heading first. So now, instead of us formatting this, making it larger, making it bold, make it underlined, and spending all this time and going throughout the document and clicking and changing and so on, and having to remember how many times and how many things we changed, what we can do is we can select the text here, and we can apply a style. So I can simply click on it here on the title style, and then it's applied and it's good to go. Now I can still, of course, modify this and make it bold and make it, just customize it a little bit the way I want it. Or, as I'll show you in a moment, we can modify the style, and whenever we apply that style, it's going to apply the new definition to it. If I want it to go here to, let's say, heading number 1, choose heading number 1, go here, choose heading number 1 again. So in some cases you'll apply here heading number 2 and heading number 3 and all that type of thing. So now if I don't like this for whatever reason, let's say I wanted to make it bold and I want to make it a different color and so on, instead of me going through each one of those different options and clicking on bold and italics and whatever else, I can simply modify the style, and the style then will be updated throughout the document. Let's go here, right click, So you select an existing style, whatever it is, you choose on modify, you click on modify, and then let's say I want it bold. Let's say the color, I want it slightly different. Let's say this orange color here. And let's say the font, I want it 18. And you can modify, by the way, any type of other stuff that you want here as well. You can click on format here and you can modify the paragraph, the tabs, the borders, the whole kinds of other functionality. Now notice you can apply to this document only, or you can apply to new documents as well. That means that whenever you create a new document and you're going to use one of those styles, it's going to apply whatever definition you chose here at this time for this computer. If you're using a different computer, that will not, of course, apply. You can also click on automatically update, and it's going to update wherever this style is used. Now that we tinkered with it, we modified it, it's going to apply it. So you click OK, and notice the first one here changed, the second one here changed as well, but not the third one. The third one was because it is heading number 2 that we had applied. Now, since we modified heading number 1 style, let's say we want to apply it again here, we simply, it has been redefined, it has been customized. We simply click on it and it's going to apply our orange color and other changes that we made to it. Again, if you want to use heading number 2, we have not modified that yet, but we can if we want to. Notice we have 2 instances of it. We can, either one of them, we can pick either one of them. Right click, choose modify, change the color, let's say to green here. And notice it's been updated in both places. So the idea is that, again, you change the style to what you want and you apply it throughout the document. You can use this for heading 1 styles, heading 2, and so on. Now you can also create your own style and give it your own name. So for example, because heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, and anything with a heading in there, that is connected to the table of contents, to creating a table of contents. So if you have to create a table of contents and you have applied this heading 1, heading 2 styles in the wrong places, then it can create problems when you generate the table of contents. And I'll cover that later as well when I create a new video on that. So there might be cases where you need something with a different name or whatever it may be. So what you do is you select this whole section here, or this new area, and now we are going to format this however we want it. Let's say I want it bold, I want it underlined, I want it italics, and I want it large like that, and I want, let's say, the color to be this kind. Now in this case, what I can do is I can simply right click on this selection with the changes that I made. So once I right click or select this new area with the new style that I want to create, then I click here on the drop down under styles and then choose create a style. Under create a style, it asks me what do I want to name this. So I could say, you can make it proposal style or whatever type of name that you want to give to it, and then you click OK, and now that has been saved. So notice it created a new style with that. So now if I go here to the next area, I can apply that same style throughout my document. If for some reason I want to modify this style at any point in time, I can right click, choose modify, change it to something different. And there it is, it's updated throughout the document. So hopefully that helps. Again, the use of styles is very effective in Microsoft Word, and it saves you time and it provides you consistency throughout the document. So now that we have created a document and we have applied some formatting to this document, whether it is using modifying the font or the paragraph or applying styles to the document. Now the next step usually is to enhance the document by utilizing additional components in it. For example, by here, and by the way, to do this, you go under the Insert tab, and that's where you can enhance it and add all kinds of other stuff to this document. So for example, we could add here a blank page if we wanted to, or a cover. Let's start with a cover page. So you can choose a cover page and then pick any of those cover pages. And notice it has pushed the rest of the document down and just put this as the first page in the document. The other thing is that from time to time you might want a part of the document to always be on the beginning of a next page. For example, let's say I want this right here where it says keep your documents safe and secure. Notice this starts on the next page here, the wording. So let's say I want this to always be on the next page. You do that by inserting a page break. So you click here on page break, and notice anytime I type any new text, and if it flows to the next page, notice this, even though there is space on page number 2, it still keep your document safe and secure on a page by itself, and that is utilized in the page break. From time to time you may find that you need to get rid of the page break for one reason or another, and this is how you get rid of the page break. You go under the Home tab here, you click on this little icon to show hide codes, hidden codes, and then notice it says here page break. All you have to do is select it, the word page break, press delete, and that gets rid of that page break that you had inserted from earlier. Now, by the way, whenever you hide and reveal those codes, notice the dots. These are the space marks, how many times you have pressed space, and these are the paragraph marks, and so on. So now let's go back under the Insert tab, and to insert a table. So inserting a table in a document, let's assume we need to create a table here. Click on Table, and there are a couple ways of creating a table. You can either select how many columns and rows you want. That's one way. Or the other way is by clicking on Insert Table, and then you choose Insert Table, and then you simply click on how many columns and how many rows you want, and then change the other properties from here. Notice additionally there are quick tables that you can insert, which are predefined tables for various uses. So in this case it's a basic table. Now that we inserted the table, notice that on the top here we have 2 new tabs that were just added as soon as we clicked on Table. Notice I click out of the table, they disappear, come back when I click on the table. Those are referred to as the contextual tools. That means they are tools that show up in the context of what I am doing at this point in time. At this point I'm working with tables, therefore I get the table tools. Each tab has a separate set of tools, whether it is a layout, and these depend, by the way, on the type of object that I'm working on. So in this case I'm working with tables here, and instead of me reinventing the wheel, I can still go and choose to customize this according to a predefined template. Format this however I want. So for example, various. So notice in this case what it's doing is that these are separate columns. So if I want these to be all in one, I can simply right click, choose merge cells, and then the whole thing will flow. The reason why I couldn't see them was because of the formatting that we had applied to the heading here by using one of those styles from earlier. And then here you can simply enter the text and format it however you want. The other thing to keep in mind here, notice that there is also, if you needed to do calculations, there's a totals row that you can apply. You can change the shading for a specific set of cells or bunch of cells here under shading. You can change the border, the color, all kinds of other properties here under the contextual tools, under the design tab, or under the layout tab, where you can select and change properties, split specific cells, merge the cells, auto fit them, and change the text formatting. So let's say I don't want it here from the left, I want it centered for this one, and so on, the text direction and so on. So it's a matter of seeing what's available and tinkering with it. Another way that I find this useful to work with tables is by right-clicking and then choose Insert and then Rows above or below. This comes very handy, usually without having to reach for layout and find it where it is, but using basically the right-click function. That's another concept to add to your bag of tricks, using right-click. And then the other one so far was tinker with the different tabs, see what's available in an application to figure out as to what it does. In this session, I'm going to go over the option for inserting pictures in a document to enhance it. So in this case, we have here the document and we want to enhance it further with pictures. Let's say it's a promotional document of sorts and we need to insert some kind of pictures related, in this case, to Office 365. So to insert the pictures, simply select the area where you want to insert it and then click on Pictures and then go and locate wherever your pictures are. In this case, I'm going to go under the temporary file here and I have downloaded the picture from before. So this is a picture that we have already in the computer. So click on Insert, and here is the picture that we chose to insert. Now this picture, notice there are a couple of options. Of course, you can resize it. Notice there is also this option here, the layout options, that shows up. You can click on it and choose different options. I'll show you how to utilize this later as well. But for now, you can click on Tight, and what that will do is that it will put the text tightly around the picture here. Notice once I select on the click on the picture, notice there's a new set of tools on the top, the Format Picture tools, and if I double click on it, that opens up automatically. Now that I inserted the picture, and by the way, this option here for the layout options, that is under the text wrapping here, if you want to look in the menu, and that was a tight option that I chose earlier. Now, the picture that we inserted, we could do a bunch of stuff with it. We can change here on the left-hand side to change the background. We can remove the color and tinker with the color if you wanted to modify it some in one way or another. And you could do artistic effects if you needed to, or in that case, mess it up, basically. And you can change the picture and basically just go through all of these options that are available here. The other thing that you can do is you have all these predefined type of formats for this picture. So instead of you having to be a graphics designer and tinker with another application, you could customize it. Notice this looks a little nicer at the edging here. And basically you're customizing it to your liking by using these predefined styles. The styles here are very similar to the styles that we covered in text styles, like formatting text. So that, for example, might work better if we put this on the right-hand side here. Now, once you have inserted the picture here, notice you have also options to change the border for it, to change the picture effects, and this it gets to be quite a bit of fun, but save this for the last minute once you have finished all the other work with the document. And then you can, if you have multiple pictures, you can bring those pictures forward or send them backward and customize that further. You can also crop the picture if you needed to by clicking on crop here, and let's say I want to make it just closer. on each corner here, and then uncheck it, and now it has been cropped. Of course, it messed it up a little bit, but that's the nature of it at this point. Now you can also insert pictures from online, and this is a new feature in Office 365 here. So you go here under Pictures, Online Pictures, and then I can choose pictures either from office.com clip art or use pictures from Bing Image Search. Bing, of course, is a search engine from Microsoft. So basically this is like the clip art option that used to be in previous versions of Office. This is searching Bing. Click on the picture that it found, and then resize it and manipulate it very similarly to what we did earlier. With the other picture. It's in the wrong spot. If you, by the way, if you want to move it to a different area, just simply drag it, and then it should adjust the layout of the document. There's also an option here. It should be under Position. Notice you can choose under Position to put it on the top left, top right. It gives you like a live preview of the document, how the document would look if you moved it in a specific spot. So that's inserting pictures and inserting images from online. In this session, I'm going to talk about inserting SmartArt in a document in order to enhance it and make it more useful and visual for the reader. So here we have a document, and we have added pictures, we have added other stuff. Now we are going here under the Insert tab, and then we are going to insert here the SmartArt. So you click on the SmartArt, by the way, it's basically just a graphic in order to visually enhance and communicate the information. Now here under SmartArt, we can pick any of these different options. So notice you have Process, and these options, by the way, are available in both Excel and PowerPoint. So let's say we go here under Relationship, and then we click on the funnel option. Now the way SmartArt works is that basically you type the text here, and then the system populates it automatically. So it basically formats it automatically for you. Now, one important concept here to understand is that SmartArt, whenever you create it, you can't just add as many options as you want. You have to kind of work within the constraints of that design for bringing about your idea and explaining your idea. So you can't add 5 more things to add here to the funnel. So let's say we type here Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and then the result is, let's say that's the result. So we have Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, and then we have here the Microsoft Office suite. If you wanted to change those, by the way, sometimes this will be hidden. So if you close it, for some reason you don't see this, you can click on it, and notice there is this expanding arrow here on the left. You click on it and it'll bring the options back up, or you can simply click on each one of those, but it's more time consuming, and type the text in there as well. Now what you can do is you can format this design. Notice there are the smart tools that show up here, the SmartArt tools, and you could format this, make it 3-dimensional or however you want. But notice you can also change the colors to make it more visual. Another option is if you click on it, if you don't like this design, you can always go and choose a different design and add more stuff to it. Of course, it depends on whether that design works for you or not, so you have to kind of get the right concept for that application. The idea here is that even if you remove one of those items, let's say I want to remove this, you can either remove it here from the left or by simply clicking on this box and deleting it. Notice everything resizes automatically, and that's partially, I think, why it's called SmartArt, because it automatically readjusts to whatever it is designed to look like without you having to spend the rest of the afternoon tinkering with it. Again, under the formatting here, you can still format this further, and you can choose the layout, the filling, the different colors, and customize it to your liking. You can also arrange this so that to wrap the text around it if you need it, very similar to how we did it for the picture, or behind it, and so on. So now notice that's kind of in the middle, and notice the text, it's wrapped all around it. So you get the idea. So it's a very powerful tool in making your design, your document more visual. Next, here in our video tutorial on the use of Word 2013 and Word 365, I'm going to demonstrate how to insert headers and footers in a document. So notice I have a lot of different pages here in my document, and I want to identify which page is what. So what you do is you go anywhere in your document, then you click on the Insert tab, then we click on Header. Under headers here, we can insert any of those predefined headers that we have here. So let's say we choose a fancy one here. And notice it put the page number on the top. And then notice that the first page does not have that page number in the document. The reason for that is because we chose here to insert a cover page in our document when we first created this document. Now notice on the header and footer area, of course this is kind of fancy here, but we have the header and footer tools, and notice there are picture tools, drawing tools, and all that type of stuff. That's because this type of header is a rich header with multiple other pieces to it as well. So here under header and footer tools, notice you have the different options. Of course, the option for different first page, this is something in regular documents that you could utilize. In this case, it's grayed out because we already have a cover page for this document. But you could utilize that different from first page. That's how you can get away with it in other regular documents. Then show the document text. That's basically, you could put the title of the document if you want over here. And then also you can insert, let's say, more pictures, more other stuff. You can insert here as well a specific field if you wanted to. So for example, let's say you wanted the file name, or you want something located. Usually you'd not put it on the top, but you can basically just choose a field. You click on OK here, and it will insert it as part of the header for your document. So pretty much all we had to do was select the header option and pick one of them and let it do its thing. Notice it's page 4. In the bottom, if we wanted to, you can go and insert also footers. So you can either, if you're on the header option, you can click on go to footer here, or you can go back under the insert tab and you can choose footer and then pick one of the footers from here. Pick the footer, and it says it's going to insert the document title, the subtitle, and you can insert whatever else you want in there. Those, by the way, the document title or subtitle, that is simply a field that I mentioned just a moment ago under the quick parts here. And at this point, that should do it. You can define the header from the top and from the bottom, the margins, and then click close header and footer. To get to the footer, let's say we don't like this, in this case it's not populating it for us, All you have to do is double click and then simply delete what's there and insert, let's say, page number, bottom of page. We pick where we want it. You could even put of here, and you could do something very similar to this: page 1 of 1, page 3 of 5, and things of that nature. If we don't want it in the middle here, we can change it to the right hand side by clicking on the Home tab and then choose indentation to the right. So that's how you put headers and footers in a document. In this session, I'm going to briefly go over the feature of inserting comments in a document. From time to time, as you are collaborating with others in a team or in a group or project, it is valuable for you to review a document and post comments in it. So here's how you do that. Basically, you can go to any part of the document. You can either select a whole section or click anywhere in the document, then you click on Insert, and then you choose Comment. And then over here, you can simply post whatever you want to put for your comments. And basically, you go throughout the document. It can be within a paragraph, it could be at the part of the document, and basically you just insert comment again, and it'll have whatever you want those comments to be. So then, as you're reading it or somebody else is reviewing this, they'll be able to see what you highlighted and what comments you inserted and where you inserted them. So that's inserting comments in a document. Other things that you can insert in a document is inserting text boxes. So at any point in time, you can simply choose to insert a text box and then type something else in there. You can format the text box to be however you like it. Notice you have the formatting tools for it. The other thing under the Insert tab, what you can insert is signature, but you can also insert a file from a text file. So that means if you want to merge two documents together, this is where you go to insert the document, the content from Word, so that the two documents kind of follow each other. The other thing that you can do is you can click under Equation here, and if you're working with mathematics or any of that, those types of expressions, you can utilize those from the equation. And then, of course, under Symbol, different types of symbols into your document. Keep in mind that for symbols, there is usually a character code or a specific code for each symbol. And you can assign shortcut keys to each one of those. So Control 1, 2, for example, whenever you type that, it'll put that shortcut key. Or actually it'll put that symbol instead of you going and inserting it every time. So that is briefly inserting comments in a document and customizing and inserting additional components in there. In this brief session, I'm going to go over the use of the design feature in Word 365 or Word 2013. And basically, we have here a document that we have designed from and tinkered with for the past few sessions. Now we want to go and change the design for this. It's very similar to the design feature in PowerPoint. So basically, we have a document, we want to format it differently to make it look different and so on. So basically, here's what it looks like right now. Now we can go and choose any of those different types of designs. So instead of us having to tinker with the different individual styles in different components to make it match throughout the document, you can just apply one of those existing designs. Notice here it's going to change the header here, or the title. It's going to change the different styles for the headers and even the text itself as well. Notice the green right below the heading in the font here. So all you have to do is just click one of those designs, and that has been applied throughout the document. So it's a very powerful feature in making the document look consistent throughout. The other thing is that you can choose here under Themes, go and pick one of those specific themes, and it'll color coordinate all the objects within that document. Notice how my new header that I had inserted earlier, it's kind of bluish. Now I go and choose a different theme. It changes all the components within that document to that specific theme. So you pick one of the designs, and you can even pick a different color scheme here. And it will adjust it accordingly. Special effects that you want to apply, watermarks, page color, and all that type of stuff, you can change it from here as well. Now that we have created our document and we have applied different styles to both the text and the images and applied and inserted various different components in the document, now there might be a need on using the page layout. And the page layout basically allows you to format the document, to change the margins, to change anything related to the layout of whether it is the document or the paragraphs within the document. So in this case, we click on page layout here and then go under margins, and you can either pick predefined margins. In this case, it is selected 1 inch on all sides, but you can make them narrow if you prefer, or whatever format that you prefer. In this case, you can also go under custom margins and then choose the type of margins that you want to specify. You can also choose the paper and also the layout for that particular document. Now those changes in those margins, and this is by the way where the orientation is, to change the orientation from this screen. You can apply them to the whole document or from a specific point forward in the document. So that is important in some cases where you need to modify page, let's say 3 and on, to be in a specific format but not the previous part of the document. Notice that the option here for set as default, that allows you to change the margins so they are the default for any new documents that you create in the future. So once you pick and make those changes, then click OK, and then the changes will be applied to the document. The other thing here under the page layout is that you can change the orientation from portrait to landscape and so on. Notice. That's landscape. And then we'll switch it back to portrait like that. Then under the size, this is where you define the paper size. For example, here in the US, we use 8.5 by 11, but then depending on what country you are, particularly in Europe, where they use the legal size or else, or whatever the need might be, this is where you change the paper size. One of the places to change it. The other thing is that you can define columns. So for example, let's say we are here, and let's say for this text here, we want to post it in columns. So there are a couple ways of doing columns. You can either select the text first and then go under columns and then just choose however many columns you want. It will apply it to only the text within that area. The other way to do it is that you can click wherever you want to start your columns, click on columns, then choose more columns, and then choose how many you want, the width between them, whether you want a line between them or not, and then over here where it says apply to, choose, instead of this section, you can choose this point forward or the whole document. Whole document, of course, is going to do it from pages prior to the spot where we clicked last, and the most common use is to use this point forward feature. And then at this point we click OK, and notice the rest of the document here is in columns, and the part before that, it is not in columns. It's basically the way we had it before. In some cases, if you're quoting for college papers and so on, if you are quoting a text of 40 words or more, you need to indent it 1 inch from both sides. So here's how you do that. Basically, you just go from the left here, 1, and from the right, 1, and that's it. So that's how you indent the whole section. Of course, in some cases it might be helpful as well to right click, choose paragraph, and then format it from here. Like for example, from the left how much here, and from the right, so from the left 1 inch, from the right 1 inch. For the sake of demonstrating, I'll make it 0.5 inches because we have it already 1 inch. And you can change the line spacing from here, click OK, and now it has been applied or changed. So these are a couple of things regarding the page layout. Hopefully it makes sense. Basically it's changing the margins, changing the orientation, the size, and remember how to change the columns. You can also insert page breaks too, and this we covered it under the insert area as well before, but basically you can customize or enter here various types of page breaks as well.